information technology.
Okay.
He runs his own startup in technology, and he's been my partner in crime in this effort for the last couple of years. Okay,
Great.
so I'm just going to share my screen real quick, and then we will go from there. You can see my screen. Partha, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay. So, welcome to the CEG C-Level Connect number 28. This is the 28th program in our series, started in 2021, August 15, 2021 to be precise. So, today is Saturday, November 25th, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So, a few guidelines for those of you who might be joining the program for the first time. Please stay muted during the fireside chat session, and please turn off your video. Myself and Cal will have our video and audio open in the first half of the program. And during the second half, I will ask all of you participants to open your video so we can take a screenshot of the attendees. This entire session is recorded, and the recording will be available in our public YouTube channel, CEG Connect. If you have any questions during the program, I'll open a solution called Slido, which is a cloud-based software. I'll explain Slido in a couple of minutes. There will be periodic live polls in addition to Q&A that you can ask of the guest as well as the host. I'll also be, as a host, publishing some live polls for getting audience feedback and participation. Please participate in the polls. Now, again, as I said, in a couple of next slide, I'll talk about how Slido works. During the Q&A in the second half of the program, if your name is called with a question, please unmute and open your video to ask your question to either the host or the guest. So today's guest speaker is Cal Raman. He is from 1989 EEE, is president of Bolt. I think all of us are curious to know what Bolt does, Cal. I have heard about them, but I don't know enough about them, so I'm curious to know what Bolt actually does. I'll be the host. Jaitesh, my co-host, is not joining today because he's out on an event today, and Partha, of course, is my tech support. So Cal is the president at Bolt, leading the engineering, product, and customer experience teams. He is an e-commerce industry veteran. Worked at people who are on the call. Can you please mute your lines? We get a lot of disturbance. Thank you. So Cal is an e-commerce industry veteran and served in Amazon, Groupon, Samsung, Walmart, etc. He is previously the CEO of Global Scholar and Zoom. And Raman has also done many companies as a board member at the e-commerce and Feed Advisor and Sona Labs. Raman is a CEG grad from 1989 from EEE, and he currently resides in Seattle. For joining Slido, what you can do is you can go to any device, open any browser on any device. It could be a laptop, desktop, phone, or a tablet. Type slido.com in any browser you have, and then once you get the Slido screen, in that box where it asks for a code, please type in 7352841. That's today's Slido code. Once you type the code in that screen, you should get a screen like this, which will have a Q&A tab and a polls tab. The Q&A tab is where you can type in your questions, and you can switch over to the polls tab. You will see some real-time polls that I'll be publishing. The first poll should be out right now, asking from where you are joining. So please participate in the polls. There will be a couple of other poll questions that will come during the session. So please do participate and give us your responses. It's mostly feedback for us to ensure that the program gets more valuable to all the audiences. So with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, and then hand it over to Cal. So Cal, it's over to you. Again, I'll give you about, say, 20-25 minutes for you to, any format, and you can talk about your professional career, you can talk about your personal life, whichever you think is significant and interesting to the audience. Looking for insightful experiences, insightful learnings that you would like to share. Over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Vish. எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். And people from Madras, Tamil Nadu, I still talk in Tamil and I still watch Tamil movies and play cricket. Still eat only Indian food majority of the time despite all my travel. So let's start.
Super.
So let me start it this way. உலகம் யாவையும் தாமோடு வாக்களும் நிலைபெறுத்தலும் நீக்கலும் நீங்களா அழகிலா விளையாட்டுடையார் அவர் தலைவர் அன்னவர் கேசவன் நாங்களே. கம்பராமாயணத்தில் உள்ள ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லோகம் அது. It's applicable to every god, the one who creates, maintains, and kind of annihilates it as a Navalila, like a joke. He is the leader, and we all surrender unto him. Um, and you can call it God, you can call it cosmic consciousness, or you can call any favorite God of yours, because we in this life, the only two things everyone has got: time and energy, right? And we all live for a certain amount of time. We all have certain amount of energy, and we are like a pop-up in this big universe. Gazillions of people have walked on this planet before us. They would walk after us, and we'll all become topsoil. And but you don't get to realize it while we are being the pop-up. So within the
Wow.
pop-up, uh, you know, Vish has asked me to share whatever my experience as a pop-up is, and so born and brought up in Tirunelveli district. Lost my father when I was 14 years old. My mother brought five of us with 380 to 420 rupees pension. Studied in Tamil medium till I was in 12th grade, and never could talk a sentence in English till I came to CG. Used to study under street lights. Never had three square meals between the age of 14 till I graduated college. Good thing is, day scholars always helped. I raided the different boxes. Uh, Lots of people gave me loan and whatnot. Um, Utterly lacked self confidence. Was not, I went to a great school, but school in that part of the country, really Singapore. Um, like coming to CG, I was with DB, Padma Seshatri, Kendra Vidyalaya, all the big crowd. A guy from village who was not able to articulate even if I was smart because of my communication skills. But I did survive. They all became great friends, and memory always helps you. In Indian education system, it's not about how you solve problem. What do you know is what takes you up. Uh, I think nowadays everything which is started in the classroom, we all can have in our phone faster than that. So probably the phones will get the gold medals going forward instead of people. So just because of memory, I was a top ranker, in our college, and um, the earliest lesson I had in my life, after my father's demise, was um, lack of fear of failure. Like when you lose your dad when you are 14 years old, and you go from a typical Indian Tamil Nadu lower middle class family or upper middle class family, when you had everything to, when you can't have anything, life could never have gotten worse. It could never go worse than that, right? So the lack of fear of failure was uh, one of the inculcated qualities I had without even knowing that I had it. Uh, so that's how I even chose engineering. I did MPCB at that time, math, physics, chemistry, and biology, and I got admission into both MBBS and engineering. MBBS admission was in Tirunelveli Medical College. So my mother and I were going in a town bus. We couldn't afford a straight bus, 16, 20 kilometers. We had to take two town buses. We were saving money for my college admission. That time I was telling my mother right in the middle that, no, I can definitely take MBBS closer to, our village. There's a good chance my life would begin and end in this district itself after I become a doctor. And I said, what if I take engineering and go to Madras? You never call. I still don't call Chennai. It's very difficult for me to get used to it. I said, like, what if I go to Madras, and what if you know my life becomes much bigger than the radius of my life is much bigger than Ambassador to Tirunelveli. and she said, "Go for it." So that's how I landed in engineering college. Like knew nobody. We had few relatives, but all were nice people, but nobody had enough money to help us and whatnot, right? So just us. Uh, I remember Chinnamalayla and we from that bus stop with just 150 rupees. Me and my mother walked through the Saidapet court to Lakshmi Veedala Tandi. For people who don't understand Tamil, somebody could translate to Guinea Engineering College, and that's how I started. And so the second one, because I didn't have uh, the fear of failure, but I was extremely lacking confidence after seeing every single classmate of mine. Uh, I never looked like anybody. I could never talk like anybody, and I was just like, I didn't articulate it that way. It's like, holy shit, what did I get myself into? Uh, but it all went away. Sometimes persistence. Like sometimes you need to live with fear also for a while. You can make fear as your companion. You can make anxiety as your companion, and then if you have you don't just travel with them. You don't have to fight anything. This is something I learned as a practice. Like failure, anxiety, fear. I don't have to fight it. I just keep them right next to me. Okay, coexist with me. Let's see what happens. And within 6 months, I was a university ranker in first year, first semester. Life then kind of worked itself out. 4 years went great. Like I've said, the 15 people in my class were very close to me, and you know, I still stay in touch with them through a typical WhatsApp group, and Arunachalam, Arun, AG Ravi, Ramanathan, great guys. And we, we had to do Viva VC, the whole typical 4 year of college, and I survived my entire college based on memory. I used to tell people casually that I had great memory. I can remember anything and answer it back. I couldn't afford to buy books. Forget about notebooks. I couldn't afford to buy notebooks. Forget about books. Sorry. So I used to go get this old paper in Saidabet, which is you buy it in kilograms, and it used to be cheap. It was tough, but the beauty is I was happy. I still don't know how, but that's another thing I learned. Again, I'm just sharing experience. So you can travel with fear, anxiety, failure, and you don't need anybody or you don't need anything outside you to make you happy. So, happiness, when you travel with all this discreetly complicated emotions, you can still be happy because you need to remember you are the only one to handle the situation, nobody else. Now, I'm a follower of Sadhguru meditation, and I do meditation. Sadhguru says it a lot more eloquently, than I have ever articulated. So I was kind of self-contained, and I was also not a serious person. I am still not a serious person. I'm a happy-go-lucky person. Like watch all movies and play cricket and hang out with people till cows come home and whatnot. So at the end of engineering college, I got a job both in TCE in Bombay as well as a job in Madras. And again, I took the same principle. Uh, I wanted to take a risk, so I wanted to go to Bombay. And the only reason I chose Bombay is I knew nobody. And so the first day I went to Dadar East. Lots of my friends gave me money even at that time because my brother could give only 75 rupees 1989 August to go to Bombay. So my friends, the same 5 6 guys you mentioned, they all pitched in some money, and I took Bombay Express or something like that. I know, forgot the name of that. And Dadar East railway station, I got down, and the first day I didn't know anybody, and I stayed in the railway platform with the vendors and the people. Like we were asleep in the platform at the time. The Tankupati, it was ஒரு முருகர் படம் கொஞ்சம் விபூதி ரெண்டு பேண்ட் ஷர்ட் அவ்வளவுதான் வேற ஒண்ணும் கிடையாது. So like I went to TC in Dadar East, walking via Siddhivinayak Mandir. I still remember that. Um, First day when I was at TC, the general manager called me at the end of the thing, and he said like, I know you are from Green Engineering College. I know you got the job on campus interview, but you need to respect Tatas. And I said like, what did I do to disrespect? Yeah, I didn't ask him that question. I was scared. Uh, then he told me you're wearing slippers, Hawaii slippers. And I said like, yeah. Tomorrow you have to wear proper shoes. And I said, I would love to, but I can't. And he asked me why. Because I don't have money to buy a pair of shoes. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, like, where are you staying? The other East railway station. Like I joined around 18th, something like that, August. The paycheck, they said they will give paycheck on the 25th or 29th, something like that. I said, like, once I get a paycheck, once I find a place to stay, the first thing I'd buy would be shoe. Then I'll send rest of the money to my family. And he was shocked. He's like, wow, like you're a engineering student from a top school, and you're what even way you wait for the first paycheck. And I said like, then I told him, kind of I was never flaunting my poverty, I never flaunt my richness, and I never wanted anybody to sympathize with me either. It's bad, like I just traveled with it, like it's like traveling, right? Anxiety, fear, poverty, helplessness, I just travel with it, and I just say it. Yeah, that's where I am right now, like you know, he's like, long story short, he basically gave me an advance. He arranged somebody to make me as a paying guest, and I got a shoe. I was able to send money to my mother within like all 24 hours. Everything happened, and life moved on. And again, the biggest thing is, every day all of us are going through. There is no happy person in the world. Everybody has got a story. Uh, okay, great. The world either cares inherently, or from the outside it will look like the world doesn't care about what you go through. Both are true. The consciousness, the cosmic consciousness cares, but people have their own stories, and we don't have to make us the mid center for everything in life, right? So we can travel with it. So I traveled with poverty, I traveled with all these things, and then the big break came. That he only sent me to TC Bangalore, and because he thought the cost of living would be cheaper and I could be closer to uh, my family. And yeah, and then I came to Bangalore. There, I just again, I didn't want to keep on doing the same thing again and again. So I was electrical engineer. How many circuit diagrams you can? The engineering training, they don't give you that much complicated work. So all circuit diagram, same circuit diagram, rinse and repeat, uh, control C, control V. At that time, there was no computer, but that's all everybody was doing, copy and paste. So at that time, there was a general manager who returned from US. He was the general manager of TC Bangalore, and he basically said, I want to computerize the manpower allocation. Basically, who should work on which project depending on the inputs and outputs. And he's like, I need some volunteers. And, I volunteered, and he asked me, do you know anything about programming? I said, absolutely not. Then he asked, like, what are you going to code? And then just saw Cunningham Ritchie on his table. I said, I'll code it in C, and I'll borrow that book, and give me like few days. I'll learn C and code it. He said, like, okay, engineering trainings are expendable. So he said, like, okay, you go work on it, and I give you 3 months. And the biggest advantage for me at that time is only the computer section would have air condition. Everybody else used to be normal things. So I said, like, now I can sit in the air conditioned room and whatnot. In 3 months, I was able to learn programming. I was able to do with the help, lots of help from everybody. I was able to cut down the amount of time. It used to take literally 10 people, 3 to 4 weeks every quarter to do the manpower allocation for the 1,200 engineers, and we were able to do it in less than 2 minutes. And once you write the program, compile, it came with one sigma accuracy. Like I didn't know it was one sigma accuracy at that time. So, but so he figured all that out, and he's like, great. He said, like, I'm going to confirm your job, increase your salary. And I told him I should quit. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, like, imagine, like, this is in 1990 time frame. I said, like, if I can, you know, learn so quickly and have so much impact with whatever this thing called programming, what if I do it for full time? And he's like, but I want to quit. And then I said, please don't fire me because I'm going to apply for jobs. I was being honest. Uh, and I know I can make lots of money. The only goal at that time was to make money so that I can educate my brothers, get my sister married, and get my mother the first ever gold chain in 14 years, so 8 years, because he sold everything. So he said, like, okay, don't worry, I will only write you a recommendation letter to go for TCS. That, and he said, like, the best, training in TCS happens in a place called Madras. Boom, boomerang back to Madras within a year, and that's where I learned everything about coding. And from there, again, uh, there it was luck. Okay, we used to send engineering trainees to with the carrying the tapes to go deliver to IBM in Singapore. At that time, there was no internet, everything. It's all mainframe. Um, so I was offered, every trainee that was a dream job because effectively that's the first time you go abroad. Second is you get $200 a day. What was the per diem, and you ride Mustafa and Kalyanasundram and buy whatever you want and come back, right? And everybody would be chopping at bits to get that trip. And when my turn came, I was like over the moon. I even took the liberty of spending few rupees to make a STD call to call the nearby place to tell my mother that it's happening. My brothers were excited. Everyone was excited. I was super excited that I was seeing aeroplane for the first time in 1991, I think. Uh, so the routine used to be very simple because it was like I was probably the millionth trainee was doing it. So all these guys told me, you go get down here, they put you in a dungeon in Sarangan Road, take a cab, go deliver the tape, they load the tape, you get a signature, walk out, 1.5 days of shopping, fly back. And I was looking forward. I went and dropped the tape. This guy took it, and then he's like, let me go load it. Boom, the tape crashed. Uh, and he's like, it was a project for IBM in Bethesda. I remember that even today. And mainframe, it was in COBOL DB2 CACS. And it didn't have IMS or anything. I think it was just DB2 CACS and COBOL. And he's like, he was trying to contact TCS. He couldn't reach people. They are trying to do telex and whatnot. And I saw this guy completely stressed out. And then he was literally saying, like, this is a shameful event, dude. Not exactly the words I'm using because it's long time back. He's like, okay, you can go now. My life is screwed for the weekend because I have to give the final submission by Wednesday or something. And I said, like, I didn't have the gall to just leave him. And I was an engineering trainee. Probably I worked on 3 out of the 600 programs in that tape. And I said, like, hey, I'll also sit and debug. He's like, do you know anything? I said, like, I'll try. Um, so again, lack of fear of failure, lack of not knowing. I just travel with that, right? And so actually, it took us 2 days. I didn't go anywhere. The good thing is I got lots of free Coke and free Pepsi. and free coffee, and he got some meal. It didn't matter to me at that time, other than the fact that I was vegetarian. Literally in 2 days, it's basically printf statements, right? Like in C program, printf statements, and it's like debugging statements. And I didn't even find the bug, if I remember right, but I kind of found the thread to the bug. He found it, and it worked, and he was very impressed, very very impressed. And then in the 2 days we were there in the breaks and everything, he knew how much this trip was important for me in my life for shopping and the whole 9 yard. And then at the end of it, I became friendly with him and I said, like, thank you, man. He's like, you did a great job. I said, thank you, but thank you for screwing all my thing. You know, what the hell am I going to do now? At least now I'll take the money and I'll buy everything in India. He's like, no, 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 wait. Then, long story short, he gave me equivalent of $1,000 on the spot bonus. And he informed TCS that I would come 2 days later. And he booked me in a fantastic hotel. And he booked me in a business class company paid trip back from Singapore. So even when I went in with selfish interest, the other lesson I learned is, like everybody is selfish. But when you are doing something which is beyond you, stay true to that also. It pays back in dividends in immeasurable ways. So then my life changed. Then he only recommended that I should go to Edinburgh. Then I went to Edinburgh. Then I came to Walmart. Uh, I was very fortunate in Walmart. People used to call me Fire Raman. I was one of the worst band managers you could ever think of because I had a very simple thing. When you are working, always what is more important for you. I've never, even now, I'm not a big believer of work-life balance. Like you do things passionately, you don't need balance. Uh, you figure your own inner harmony, right? And when you watch movies passionately. When you play cricket passionately. When you work passionately. Uh, you then you don't need. You will never get burnt out. Uh, if you really get burnt out with anything in life, that means you are not doing it out of your own intent. You are doing it out of compulsion. If you do anything out of compulsion, you are going to be burnt out. It doesn't matter. Trust me. It could be work. It could be family. It could be taking care of kids. Or it could be even one day it could be even taking care of your puppy, or one day it could be just brushing your teeth. You are going to, if you do it out of compulsion, uh, you'll be burnt out. So, but in Walmart, I was known for the toughest taskmaster, right? And I was not a good man manager also. Like acceptance is another important thing we all need to have. Like if you don't accept and learn from our mistakes, you'll never grow, right? And but I learned about the business a lot. I had great people, mentors, Doyle Graham, Bobby Martin, and I was working very quickly. I was working directly with Sam and Rob Walton. I was their problem-solving boy, and Doug Benz, Macmillan, a bunch of 5 generations of CEOs, Lee Scott, Lee Stuckey. I was a problem solver for lots of them, and Walmart promoted me. I joined as a contractor, and I took more than 60% pay cut to be an employee, which was a dumb move for many people. But for me, it was the right move because uh, I wanted to, as a contractor, you don't get to work on all the important parts of the business, right? And I had this thirst to learn, why certain people are getting called into the meeting, why, I'm getting excluded. So I didn't look at that as a, discrimination. I was not wondering why people were treated exclusive. I wanted to know what could I do to become inclusive. So part of that is I had to become an employee, and I became an employee. And Walmart was the best place where I learned everything in my life, and they helped me. The people I worked with, the people I worked for, they promoted me 18 times in 12 months. I didn't even know that. In the first 3 years, I got my green card. H1, first year, I got my H1. Within 3 years, I got my green card. I didn't have to the typical desi travel of worrying about H1, worrying about green card, internet, and buying a house and buying a good car. None of those things mattered to me at that time. I just wanted to know more about business. And then, my life took lots of turns. After that, I was a blockbuster. For everything, I learned what to do. In 6 years in Walmart, I learned in 1.5 years what not to do when you run a business at Blockbuster. Um Even though I was a director or senior director of engineering, I was able to read P&L and balance sheets and everything. So I remember one of the first meetings I had with the CFO of Blockbuster. I said, like, wow, this business model is so unscale, not scalable, man. You are getting 800 to 850 million out of $1 billion of free cash flow late fees. And what if people chose not to pay late fee? Late fee is a bad customer experience. You could get away because of the rental retail window segregation with online coming, DVD coming. What if somebody could rent over internet and never have to pay late fee, which was Netflix business model. I didn't even know that I was doing a business model. I was doing it just a logical detection methodology more than anything else. It's a mathematical model, right? And I like I said, I learned everything what not to do. So like they were not working backwards from customer experience. Like that is also a very simple thing. We all know that from our life in India, especially. Like a country like India with a huge tradition. You know, பொது நிலத்துல சுயநலம் இருந்தா நல்லா இருக்கும். சுயநலத்தோட பொதுநலத்தை பார்த்தா எதுவுமே நல்லா இருக்காது. அவ்வளவுதான். So then I left Blockbuster. Then I decided that I'll only become a CIO. Randomly, I made a call. I was 27 or something. Then I became a CIO for a startup. Uh, at that time, internet was just coming up, and I became CIO for drugstore.com. Again, I took a huge pay cut. Moved from Dallas, Texas to Seattle, Washington. Now, I've been here for 25 years. So, and the only reason I did that is I just wanted to see, okay, everybody told me all the best technical talent sits in West Coast. So I wanted to see how do I fare, like with the, I know worst case what will happen, like I'm an application engineer and I'm not good enough to be a true software engineer. So I joined as a CTO, and then life was great. Within a year and a half, we went public, and then 2000 April happened, and I became my boss. I still call him boss. He's probably the only person other than God I call boss. Uh, Peter Newport told me to become the CEO of a public company. When I was 29 years old, and the stock went from $60 to 45 cents. Everybody wrote us off, and I like that. When people write me off, I really like it because that makes life easy because the expectations are low. Then you can always surprise people. So the problem, in every business, I can't say it's about life, but in every business, you should be able to deduce the core in one or two sentences. If you cannot deduce a business problem into two sentences, then you don't understand the business. At least that's my way of looking at business. So in drugstore, the problem was the cost of customer acquisition was $100, and the profit we were getting from the customer in a year was less than $50. So for a company to be profitable, that cost of customer acquisition either should be less than $50 or I should get more than $50 of profit from the customer within a year. Because every company can survive with 1 year payback, right? That's a thumb rule. And so I deduce the problem into two sentences. And again, desperation without anxiety is very good. That'll always yield results. Being desperate, you're not going to go anywhere. Being anxious, you're not going anywhere. But when you're desperate about solving a problem without being anxious, you'll always find a solution. So at that time, we figured out that Google, there was a company called Google coming up, and they were launching CPC, cost per click ads, and where you pay only for what people clicked on the keywords. I said, Okay, great. At that time, Google was not doing spelling mistakes, uh, and the average keyword length was 1.2. So I basically said, here we go. Here's a great opportunity. Why don't I try this? Why don't I just optimize all my pages for Google free search? And why don't I just go completely cut all our marketing, go directly only on Google and along with affiliates? And why do I buy every single keyword mistake, spelling mistake? And why do I put all the keywords which are greater than 1.25 for my catalog? Within 3 months, my cost of customer acquisition came down from close to 100 to $9. And then within 12 months, we became EBITDA profitable. After 18 months, the stock went to $99 from 45 cents. Then all of a sudden, everybody thought Cal was a smart guy. Uh, that's exactly what will happen in life. Being called smart, being called a good person is you work in the background. You do the right things and nobody notices you. And overnight, you work hard for many years and you become an overnight sensation. Uh, Jeff used to be on my board, Bezos, and for 7 years. I had a fantastic board. I had Howard Schultz, Jeff Bezos, Melinda Gates, Paul Allen, Bill Campbell was my mentor. I didn't assemble any of them. Peter Newport did. So when I became the youngest CEO on Nasdaq, I think Zuckerberg took it over after that. Um, I had the fantastic board. I didn't think I was ready to be a CEO because I used to talk 10 times faster with worse accent, and I had to go through, like oratory skills and correcting my, you know, spoken English and everything. And I said, why not give it a shot? Like end of the day, it's not about the investors may not understand my slangs, but they will understand the numbers, right? And all they care about is profit, even irrespective of who it is. They always say, we think about long term, but show me the profit in the next 3 months. Uh, so then I joined Bezos, spent 3 years there. Then I did a couple of startups, had good exits at Global Scholar. I was the chief operating officer of Groupon. Then my mother passed away. That time, uh, that's there are lots of dark times in my life, and that was the darkest time in my life. And so at that time, uh, I was completely paralyzed, mentally paralyzed for a while, and I took a trip to Himalayas, and 10-15 days I was there with a couple of sannyasis. I didn't take phone, money, anything, and I kind of we since 99 we have been supporting lots of poor kids. We have uh, 300,000 kids we have adopted one way or other. I give most of the money I make for charitable causes. We don't need money. My kids are grown up. Um, but losing my mother was a big thing for me, and at that time is when I intrinsically made a change. Every company I worked, half the people would love me to death. The other half the people would love to see my death because I was a mover and shaker in big companies, and no BS, straightforward. That's how I define myself, and that's how the people who loved me define also. But I was not able to see the one's complement of the definition because that is kind of a defacing our own ego, right? And so on that trip, I decided, if I am a guy who's loved by say 50% of the people, and I'm a guy who's giving most of the money I make for charitable causes, why am I being nasty to people at work? So I decided that I would embark on this reinventing journey where I will still be the guy who will get shit done, but I'm going to make sure that greater than 80% of the people love me, irrespective of which company I work in. And I'll tell you, the toughest journey in life is not about fixing external situation, finding a job, buying a house, getting your kids married, or the toughest journey in life is reinventing yourself journey, because there is so much of ego, there is so much of acquired habits, there is so much of self protection you want to do to look make yourself look good. We don't ask the basic questions to ourselves. We wear so many masks, and at some point in life, we don't even know what our original face is. Uh, the longer you live, it's tougher for you to even take that makeup out, even for men, believe it or not. Uh, so I joined Samsung. I picked one of the worst companies I could. I joined a. I wanted to be. If you looked at all my career, either Walmart is the only company where it's a big corporate. After that, every big company, Amazon, Bezos was my board member. He was my friend. And the guys who ran Groupon, they all worked for me at Amazon. So I was going in there as a top guy, right? And otherwise, I ran my own companies. So I wanted to be in a company where there are lots of layers above me. I'll still have freedom, but how am I going to be nice to people and get stuff done? So I wanted to put test myself in the most complicated organization. I had to choose big companies like Microsoft, Google, and Samsung and whatnot. I chose, Microsoft, Google would have been a traditional path for everybody, and I'm not a guy who's kind of, I am anything but traditional. I still pray God. I still eat, Tamilian food, but other than that, like I'm not a big guy of following a traditional path. So I chose Samsung, and a big conglomerate, 120 countries, run from Suwon in South Korea, bureaucratic. Took the business from, I was joined as chief digital officer, took the Samsung.com business from 45 million to 2.2 billion in like 4 or 5 years, built a team from scratch again. Uh, like launched the platform internationally, took the business from 80 million to 800 million to 8 billion. Uh, results are always there. But the biggest thing which gives me lots of happiness, I got the last 3 years, I was there almost 6 years. Every year, I was the most recognized executive across the entire Samsung world of more than 120 countries, and probably like there could be 300 EVPs and probably 10,000 VPs and above. They all vote for a few awards globally. I was the most respected and loved leader in the entire Samsung for 3 years in a row. Uh, I broke many barriers. I challenged the status quo every day, and I was a guy who was, literally breaking the regular business models almost on a monthly basis. I was able to do all of that without being an asshole, and that is the toughest uh, transition for me. After that, life hit me hard, and I'm in one of the hard phases right now. So when Wish reached out to me year back, I didn't even respond to. I didn't even offer to do any of this because I have lots of turmoil going in my family right now. I lost my elder brother. We have a family of five. I was in India. I gave up my job. Uh, I was with him for a month. My younger brother is suffering, so I quit my job for 6 months. Then I took Bolt. Bolt is just in August of this year. My younger brother is still recovering, so if at all you guys want to do anything for me, pray for our family to be peaceful and healthy. Um, Bolt is a company. It's a universal shopper network, which basically helps e-commerce companies to improve their conversion, improve their marketing effectiveness, reduce the abandoned cart, improve on return. Basically, using Bolt as an infrastructure with your coexisting e-commerce infrastructure, you can grow your top line and improve your bottom line. That's pretty much the summary of Bolt. With that, I'm going to stop. I think I've gone past my 20 minutes.
It's
Ish.
okay. I think quite a few interesting observations there. I know you talked about transformation, personal transformation. I can fully relate to that and understand it because as a psychologist and a psychotherapist, all my clients, I try to do that for them. Used to make them transform from where they are to where they are, and I can tell you that clients struggle. People struggle to do that, particularly those who are already done well in their career and jobs, etc. As I told you, 100% of my clients are between 20 and 35 years old, and almost all of them are highly educated, working in big jobs, and they all make a lot of money. They have high power, lots of good things in life, as people think they are, and then but they're not happy. And transforming is a big thing. So I completely agree with you that personal transformation is probably the most hardest for anyone to do. So congratulations, you're able to get through that. Not being an asshole in a company is something that I still haven't conquered, to be honest with you. It's hard, it's tough. I try my best to do it, so I agree that's also an important thing. The third thing is, your story resonates with a lot of people in the audience as well as people in India. I think going from nowhere to becoming a position of power. I can relate to it fully. Going from a similar situation, family situation like yours, to becoming the CEO of a public listed company in the US. That is a kind of your like seminal moment in your life. I think that I've done it, right? But it doesn't stop there. You have challenges beyond that which you haven't anticipated. So yeah, I agree with you. So all of them are great learning. I think the time you spent walking through the story was quite, I'd say, insightful and very useful. I found it very interesting and very honest and from the heart. So thank you so much for that. Um, in terms of next thing on the program, what I want to do is we have some time. We're going to extend a little bit more time, if you don't mind, to ask questions. So there are a couple of questions already teed up, but let me start with the first question I want to ask you, which is, you went from a brick and mortar company to digital companies and different industries within the digital area, and now in Bolt, which is also an e-commerce. Uh, can you share what, being an electrical engineer, you're not a software engineer, and you didn't, I presume you didn't have an MBA degree from anywhere. So how was the transition from a tech person background, a foreigner tech person, immigrant background, to a business person running Fortune 500 companies?
Uh, See, end of the day, irrespective of what role you do, you are problem solving.
Yeah,
Okay, you need to go to the basics of engineering. Is nothing but logical problem solving. That's what Forget about how we are getting taught, whether it is civil mechanical, triple E, or EC or computer science. End of the day, it's all about fundamental problem solving. And when when you solve the problem on behalf of customer, that is business management.
yeah.
So I was able to abstract everything into that. So I was focused on problem solving first, then solving the problem on behalf of customer using numbers. Then that became business management. And how do you articulate is where you become a business leader. So it's about solving a problem on behalf of customer and synthesize the problem and the solution and articulate it in a simple way. Then you become a business leader. And I didn't do any MBA or anything. As a matter of fact, I've given classes in Sloan and few the colleges, all the big colleges, and where people ask me, where did I learn? I said I learned everything on the job. So
So that's a good point. That leads to my next question. For people, students in particular, and junior alumni who are watching the program or recording, if you had to give a piece of advice, and a lot of people ask this dilemma when they come out of college, that should I go for higher studies, should I do a MS or an MBA, should I go to a startup, should I go to a big established company? uh, Obviously the answer depends on the person, but what would be your advice to people who are in that position?
wherever you go, whatever you do, if your intent is to learn and be better a year from whatever you start to, whenever you start to the next year, you want to go there with the intent to learn.
Mm,
That's a good thing. That's all you can ask for. A human being is either born learning or born dying.
mm,
Uh, so if you study somewhere a year from now, if you haven't learned, 10 more things than what you started the education, or if you work in a company, if all you have to show for working in a company is a car and a house on mortgage, you are actually doing a disservice to yourself. You should be learning. You should be learning knowledge and earning friends. If you have that to show, yep, you're making the right call. And also, like follow your heart. Don't follow wallet. Don't follow what is in vogue, what our others are doing. Because the thing is, life is all about everybody wants to be unique. You can't be unique and follow others.
Yeah, agree. Agree. In terms of last question I have before I turn it to the audience is the transformation you had 3, 4, 5 years ago. What was the one significant thing that caught you to say I have to change from this to that? Is it your attitude, your way of approaching things, communication?
It's it's communication, right? Yes, you can harm others with your thoughts. Thank God, others nobody knows what you're thinking. Otherwise, this whole world would be harming everybody all the time, and nobody knows. That's good. That's a good thing. But what is the next worst way to harm others is the communication. So, how you communicate with people is, if you ask me, that's the single biggest thing I had to work on. Because when I am talking to you or anybody on any issue, I used to literally, while I'm talking to you, I'm already preparing for how I'm going to answer you, whether it's a question or whether it's a statement, whether it's an ad, whatever it is, right? Or me deciding not even answer you and keep quiet. I had to change that. I just wanted to listen to you with a very open mind, without even thinking about. Let's just intently listen. Be very open. You can say some garbage to me. That's okay too. But I'm going to listen to you. Then the second thing, which is as easy as I say, it is not okay. I am confident it's not easy for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we all think we are all smart. We want to be the person with all the answers, or we want to have an opinion, or we want to say I ignore you. But the thing is, me out and just give myself to the other person, whether it is 30 seconds or 2 minutes. And the second is never confront you with a why. No, nothing should start with why or why did you do it, you or anything. Because so that I don't want to make you defensive. Uh, those are the I'm telling you, I synthesized it into two sentences. But if you can practice that for 2 days in a row, if you can do it 5 out of 10 times, which took me almost 6 months to do it 6 out of 10 times, that's when the transformation was even possible.
Amazing. Amazing. Super. So let's go to the audience questions. First question is from Anonymous, whoever asked the question, going from rags to riches. Whoever asked the question, can you unmute and ask the question with the relevant context, please? Okay, let me read the question to you, Cal. It says, do you think life has become generally harder for someone to go from rags to riches?
Mhm. Life is always hard or always easy. Which one you are suffering could be, like we we can suffer in best of all conditions. When you're not educated, you suffer for education. When you go to college, you suffer college. You don't get a job, you're worried and suffering about a job. You get a job, you don't like the job. Then you're suffering to get married. Then, holy shit, what happens after you get married? Then you suffer to get kids. Then you suffer about kids. The suffering, you can suffer, keep on suffering all your life. Instead, you can also make a choice of not suffer. It is choice. Pain is inevitable. If you get injured, if you get sick, if somebody you love dies, somebody leaves you. Yeah, that the painful things are inevitable, but suffering is by choice.
Mm, mm. Exactly. Very good. Very well said, actually. Very well said. So next question comes from another anonymous person. I don't know who it is. Can you please ask your question? Message for entrepreneurs, etc. All that. Whoever asked the question, can you please unmute and ask the question?
Hi, this is Suresh from CEG 2013 passed out. So we are just wondering if there is a message from you for deep tech entrepreneurs in a country like India where only B2C large e-commerce is valued to great, unlike Silicon Valley.
So, the India next 10 to 50 years are for India. Okay, you can go no wrong by being an entrepreneur in India, provided you work backwards from customer experience and stay true to customer experience. Um, Indian tech innovation is going to be very different. The kind of infrastructure the government has uh, centralized or decentralized made it easy for everybody to access, like the UPI, which basically took all the payment companies out of the game. Right? In here, the rest of the world, everybody spends 2 to 3%. They have to go through Visa or somebody, and that's a business. Identity is a business. Aadhaar took the identity out of the business. E-com infra is a business. ONDC is taking it out for everybody,
Mm,
and GEM is doing it for B2B for government. So, like how India skipped the computer revolution and directly went into mobile phone, a bunch of these companies, the gig economy companies and the infra companies you see in the Western world, the Indian ecosystem is going to give you the foundation. You don't have to build it. And how do you build on top of it? Is going to be the most challenging one for you, because the strength in India is the sheer number of people. But even today, I would say what less than 20% of people are on really using uh, some kind of commerce online, right? Because when I go to my village, Ambassador, yeah, people do buy from Amazon, but these are guys who work in Madras and whatnot. So there is so much of opportunity. The problem is, it's the breadth of the country is so big and the population is so high. How are you going to build infrastructure where microeconomically you can be profitable? Is going to be the most challenging thing for you. Like when I was there in India last time, I was super impressed with there are lots of great services in India, man. Like Dunzo, right? It's like somebody, like I don't have to walk out of my house. I can get toothpaste in one order, and I can remember my soap. Boom, like within 5 minutes, I get both of it, and they charge me some 5 rupees, 10 rupees, whatever it is. So I know that they are profitable. But if they are profitable, like services like that, you won't be able to avail in any modern countries, right? AI is going to play a huge role. India can change the way inventory management is being done. Using image and video AI, if you can do inventory management in all kiranas, that'll change the world. Like I'm trying to help a guy, advise a guy on how to use imaging AI to measure the inventory in kiranas, right? And if somebody can do it without anybody doing any barcode, no scanning, nothing, using unlimited amount of images just to say what is the inventory position moving, then that becomes a powerful vehicle for anyone, any marketplace. Then that become a company by itself. So there's so much you can do in logistics, manufacturing, last mile delivery. AI can play a huge role, but you need to be very careful because they don't. You need to make sure that your microeconomic business model will be profitable once you reach scale. That's where most of the companies have failed in India. Everybody focused either on top line, they grew, they didn't make money, or people who focused on bottom line, they never scaled. So you need to pick somewhere in between.
super.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Subbu, you have a question or a comment? I wasn't sure. Can you please unmute and ask your question slash comment? Okay. He says, Cal Raman sir, காலத்தை வென்ற ராமன். நீங்க நீங்க I don't understand. நீங்க நெருபட taking our தலைவர் inspiration. I didn't fully understand it, but
நீங்க நெருப்பு there's a famous Rajini quote அவர் வந்து ஃபயர் ராமன் அப்படின்னாருல
ah,
நீங்க நெருப்புடா ரஜினி has a
ah,
favorite dialogue.
okay, okay. Now I understand. Nerupuda. I said Nerupuda. Okay, I understood that.
நெருப்புடா நெருங்குடா பார்ப்போம். Yes.
Uh, I'm really amazed
காலத்தில்
sir.
காலத்தெல்லாம் யாராலையும் வெல்ல முடியாதுங்க. Like I said, we are all pop-ups. We are all going to be topsoil and we are pop-ups. And we have to just just enjoy while we are here and add some value. The only thing I want to be known for is
So
when I can help somebody I want to help. When I can't, I want to pray. That's all.
இல்லைங்க நம்ம
Subbu, you are muted.
like that is what we are saying. So that's why that's why.
Subbu, your voice is very garbled. We can't hear you properly.
இப்போ கேட்கலான்னு தெரியல.
Okay, okay, it's okay. Good, good. Go ahead.
So I was reading a book called Delusion. So it's about like our entire human life has been about like we are doing the immortality projects, the ones which will, even if we die, our name stays there forever. Like for example, doing a great company, being a CEO at the age of 29, and doing like amazing projects, working with so many. You would have touched like more than thousands of lives in your short career, and all God's blessings to you, sir.
Thanks. And nobody is immortal, man. None of us wake up thinking Mahatma Gandhi or thinking about King Ashoka today, right? They touched a much bigger percentage of life at that time. And human being, our single biggest, this is exactly how, unfortunately, that's the only way the world can evolve. You need to stay uh, in the present and remember the uh, measurable past and immediate future. Otherwise, the world would be chaotic and nobody would care about living. So that's how we all try to measure, think of ourselves that we are adding value. It's not the value we add. It's the life itself is all life is about. There is no need to worry about what we have done in the past, what we will do in the future. Just let's
Mm,
live and let live. That's all life is all about.
mm.
And you do that, lots of things will come and join you. Lots of people will join you. Lots of people will leave you. But let's just live life as we live. Let's be full of life.
Yeah, yeah. It's very profound, but it makes sense though. Unusually, amazingly, it actually makes sense. And I think, Cal, to your point, I think people very young don't probably get that yet because they don't have the experience or they haven't seen enough of the world yet. But that's something that people need to understand. One of the purposes of doing this program, by the way, is that I wanted to have the opportunity for students and young alumni who haven't had the experience of life as you describe it to be able to get that from speakers like you. That was the original purpose of the program, which still continues to be the main purpose, is to hear the stories, inspiring, how challenging it was, what they learned, what they have to learn, but more importantly, to know that life isn't going to be like what they are when they're 21 years old. It's going to be very different. And how do you navigate that? That's the point of the program. I think you did exactly that. In fact, your your presentation was exactly addressing the mission of the program. I hope people got that value from that. But that's what we want to see. And all my guests, all 27 guests before you, all had a story to tell. Different, but have a common theme that almost all of them came from middle class backgrounds. Almost all of them came from small towns and places, and almost all of them are in top positions in multinational companies. And it's amazing to me how that every one of them resonates in terms of what they had to do to get where they are, and each one of them in a different profession, different companies, different industries, etc. But the common theme is that you got to understand life isn't going to be the same. You got to do a lot of things that you don't expect to do and deal with things that you don't expect to deal with. So to that extent, I think your story was very inspiring, very helpful. So thank you so much for that. Two more questions in the line before I close it, if you don't mind. So the next question from Anonymous, whoever asked the question: when you go up the ladder, how do you keep yourself grounded? Whoever asked the question, do you want to give a context to the question or not? You can answer the question.
Uh, you know, uh, the how do I answer that? Remember the people who helped you go up the ladder, and remember the ladder itself. Otherwise, when you fall, it will be harder.
Mm.
So, if you forget the ladder, the fall would be harder. So, uh, so remember the ladder. Remember the people who helped you. Then, because whatever goes up comes down, man, and you know there's a saying, right? Like nobody is always is going to go up, and nobody is always going to come down. It's a cycle in life, uh, and just remember that. Like that's all. It's very simple.
Yeah, yeah, super. Sammy, you had a question or a comment? Can you unmute and ask?
He, yeah. I've seen the Fire Raman. I got hired by him.
Avi, how are you?
Good, good. I just want to connect back. It's been years I've been in touch with Cal, so thought I'll join and listen to him.
Uh, what do you
Hey,
what do you
hey.
what do you think about Fire Raman? Is he still Fire Raman or just Raman?
He's always fire, but I'm glad to see that he has transformed a whole lot.
Uh,
And I'll probably like touch base offline to, like get some.
where do you work now, Sammy?
I work at Verizon. Been there for quite a long time. I'm a chief architect for the billing division. So,
Your CTO is also from CEG, right? Shanmugavelu,
yes,
I think, right?
yeah. Shankar Arumuvelu.
No, sorry, Shankar Aramagavelu. I'm
Yeah.
trying to reach him to schedule him as a session like what I did for Cal. So if you can tell him because he's not very responsive, unfortunately. So if you could
Oh,
just,
okay.
I think Cal was like that, but he changed after transforming himself. He started responding. So good things happen when you transform.
Right, right.
Anyway, thanks for your comment, Sammy. And I just want to see if anybody else has any questions to ask of Cal before we close the session. Thank you, Cal. Honestly, it was a very good session, I would say. A lot of things you said, as I said, is very relatable to a lot of people in the audience as well as myself. And more importantly, is what you have to do to get to where you are now, not just professionally but also personally. And I did hear that you have some challenges in your family. We pray that those challenges are overcome. I think prayers do matter. I'm very big believer in it right now, and not because I'm a psychologist, but in general, it makes a difference. And so we'll pray for your family to make sure they're all okay. And you didn't talk about your pets. You have a pet. There are a lot of pet
He's
lovers.
sleeping.
There are a lot of pet lovers in the audience, so you can say a few things about your pet before you close the session.
Yes, yes. Simba. Simba is. We got him 2 years back. He's a Maltese. He's actually sleeping in my bed. He doesn't. He's 2 years. He's a teenager. He doesn't wake up till 10 o'clock in the morning, and then when he wakes up, he wants dad to wake up and go and look for him. And he's the best thing that could have happened to us in the last 2 years.
Oh wow! Okay, wow,
And
amazing, amazing.
I love him. Like I've never served somebody without expecting anything like what I do for Simba.
Wow, wow. I think
This is the next one. I'm a vegetarian. I've never eaten meat, but I cook chicken for him at home myself,
interesting.
and I
We
hand
have
feed him.
Yeah, we have cats at home. We are cat lovers. We don't have dogs. We have cat at home, and same thing. We don't eat non-veg, but we prepare non-veg. We don't prepare them. We just buy them for our cats. And yeah, I had to say that they are very. I would say they are very grounded. They have no attitude. They have attitude, but they have no opinions about things, right?
They don't
And
have agenda.
they don't agenda. Yeah, they have no agenda. Exactly, they have no agenda, and they're not looking to get back at you or get something out of you or trick you to do something, anything like that. I agree with you that having pets is definitely a very therapeutic experience, in my opinion. Actually, everybody should have a pet. At least have some
Yep.
kind of a pet, at least, right? So with that, again, thank you so much for your time, Cal. I
Thank
know
you.
it's a weekend on a Thanksgiving thing, not the best time to catch you. And also, Monday is going to be a very busy day for your business. So good luck with that. I hope that people come back to buy on after the Thanksgiving weekend. The U.S. economy needs people to open the wallets for sure. Lots of jobs, lots of people's lives are dependent on that, and so I hope that you guys do well. And open up the economy for me to make money in the US, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
guys. Thank you very much,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.